Welcome back to How to Play Cricket, the professional coaching guide. This is part 2 of how I got to the top of the batting averages in the whole of Hertfordshire after 10 innings. So if you haven't seen part 1, I advise you to go back and see that first. And let's go on straight into number 2. So Michael Apton once said this and it always stuck with me. He said, see the ball early, play the ball late. And this is how I do it. Now if you remember, general batsmen will be batting conventionally with the shoulders closed off, both feet pointing towards cover, extra cover. Bat will be behind them, and they have one movement when the ball comes down, straight drive. And if you remember me, from this position, my shoulders come round, now my bat is pointing towards gully. And this is how Steve Smith bats and people like Hashim Amla. So if I want to play a straight drive now, my left elbow has to come round, and by doing that, my bat now comes from this position to this position. We'll call that one movement, and my second movement will be a straight drive. So I've now got an extra movement. This extra movement now delays my shot. So that means the ball will be travelling slightly further down the wicket when I play my shot. My problem before was I used to see the ball quite early and play the ball early. And this is a way of chipping the ball in the air, especially on slow wickets. Now, the benefit of this is, by playing the ball late, you're playing underneath your eye line, so you won't be chipping the ball in the air, so you can actually play more expansive shots, knowing that the ball has travelled that slightly further distance, and you can now play your drives on the floor. While playing the ball late is a very simple thing to do. You see many times professional cricketers playing in front of their body. This is how they usually get out, because they're always driving or playing their shot in front of their hands are in front of their body. This is a very easy way of losing control of the bat handle and getting edged to the slips. So this is why you want to play the ball late underneath your eye lines. From here you can play with soft hands, and then you can manipulate the ball as well at the same time if you ever want to get out of trouble. Now there's this tutorial from 𝗣𝗿𝘁 where he talked about playing his shots inside this little circle around himself, a little box. And what that meant was, he played his shots, everything was underneath his eye lines, and he kept this imaginary box around himself, so he could play all of his shots inside this little box. So at no time was his hands going in front of himself. And this is how I wanted to play my shots. Because you've got this extra movement where the bat comes around and you're playing your shots slightly later, while it is a good thing, it does delay your foot movement. Now there is a counter for this. I open up my stance slightly and I bend my knees. Now I'm going to show you side on. So this is my normal batting position where I open up. So what I want to do now is open up my stance slightly and bend my knees. And from this position, what I used to do back in the day was I used to have a forward press. And you see a lot of cricketers having a forward press as well. While it is a good thing for spinners, for fast bowlers, I wanted to make sure I had equal balance on both feet. So there was equal 50% pressure on both feet. And the benefit of this is, if you've got a forward press, and you want to move on the front foot, you can't do it because you've got all your weight on one foot. What you need to do then is transfer your weight onto the back foot to move forward. That delays things as well even more. So let me have equal pressure on both feet, just like 𝗣𝗿𝘁 does, and a lot of top international players. And from here, what I've noticed was, a lot of these international players, when they play these amazing cover drives, they barely move their feet. It's always weight transfer. They might have a little stride, but this stride is so minimal, it won't make much difference to the shot. And what I generally saw was, they used to transfer weight. So I thought, well, I might as well just do the same. So I'm going to be batting normal, open up my shoulders, and from here, I used to rock. You can rock forwards and backwards and transfer weight. And that's how I play my cover drives from now on. And there's a little video, there's an 85 mile per hour bowling, and I'm not moving my feet much. So another benefit of opening up your shoulders is you can play easily off your hips. Now because you open up your shoulders, your head is pointing down the wicket, your head won't be falling over. If anywhere, your head will be falling forward, which is much more beneficial. And from this position, if the ball's coming into your pads, your bat is pointing towards gully, it's an easy movement here, because you're already in a position to play the ball off your legs, and anything on your hips, you're in a much more better position. If you bat conventionally, square, and your bat is here, your bat has to come round more, and your foot has to come round as well at the same time. My foot didn't need to come round because it already had come round. If you remember, my front foot is pointing down the wicket, bat is in this position. I'm already in an easy position to flick. And the chances of me missing it were thoroughly reduced. I was hitting them more often than not. Back in the day, and you generally see international cricketers as well, who bat in this position, balls on their hips, they play and miss quite often because their bat has to come around more and then come round. Their foot has to come round, so there's much more movements. This is a way of missing the ball on a leg stump, plus this is a way of getting LBW as well. Okay, let me talk about in-swing deliveries now. Because your eyes are now on off stump, if the ball's outside your island is coming in, you can see it. If you take a forward press and the ball wraps you on the pad, there's a very good chance you'll be hit outside the line. Even if it misses your front pad, hits your back pad, that's okay. Your back pad will also be outside the line because you've taken it off stump guard and you're playing the shots. The bowler will now know that he can't get you OBW by hitting the off stump because you've taken that front foot stride. This is a huge advantage of taking an off stump guard.
Had Angelo Matthews chosen to review, look what would have happened. Ball hits him outside the line of off stump. The decision would have been overturned. So
this is how I used to feel when I used to take an off stump guard. Anything outside my eye line, I know that I won't be getting LBW in a rush. So when the ball's outside my eye line, I know it's outside off stump. I could free my arm and play expansive shots. Now the benefit is, I won't be LBW, so I've taken out that mode of dismissal. The only way I'll be really getting out is edging the ball to the slips or keeper, but that's okay. As long as I've got two major modes of dismissal out of the way, which is LBW and bowled, I was happy with that. So I could play my expansive shots, and the reason why I could do that is because I opened up my shoulders. My front foot was now not in the way, it was already opened up. And when you see cricketers play the big shot, they always move the front foot out of the way to free their arms.
He's getting into a position, it reminds me a little bit of Lance Klusener. He clears that front foot so that he can get a bit of power, and if it's up there he goes very straight, and if it's slightly short he likes to heave it over mid-wicket.
And I already had a position where I was batting where my arms were free because my front pad was never in the way. Like Side Anwar and Virender Sehwag, they used to not move their feet much, but what they did was had their front foot out of the way and they could play expansive cover drives, and this is what I want to incorporate into my innings. If you have a left arm bowler come around the wicket, things change a bit. So generally you see cricketers, when they bat conventionally and the left arm bowler comes round, they open their shoulders up. I'm ready in that position in the first place, so that's the first advantage. The second thing is, because you open up your shoulders, your front foot now opens up as well. The chances of you getting LBW are definitely reduced because now all you need to do is put your bat in the way. And if you have a look at this video, Shan Masood, who's batting orthodox where his front foot is pointing towards extra cover, when the big in-swinger comes down from the left-hander, his bat can't make access to the ball because his pad is in the way. And in this case, his front foot was in the way. All he needed to do was open up his shoulders, move that front foot round a bit, knowing that left armers are generally going to swing the ball back in. When you bat like normal batsmen side on, with your shoulders are closed off, you've always got this tendency of playing balls with your heavy head going towards cover. As a result, you're always falling over. When the ball swings across you, you're trying to get your head in line with the ball, so you're getting your heavy head falling over. And from here, your arms go at the same time just to cover the line. This is the worst position to be in. This is how you generally play away from your body and edge the ball. When you open up your shoulders, your head is now down the wicket, your heavy head. So when the ball does move away from the bat, your arms find it very hard to follow the ball because you open up your shoulders. So when the ball used to cut away, I just play the line, let the ball go past me. And I used to think, well, that's another way why I'm not getting out now, because I'm opening up my shoulders. I could see the in-swinger come very easily, and if it wasn't swinging back in, I used to let that ball go on that trajectory, and I used to know that it's going to go past my off stump. And the reason why I should know it's going past my off stump is because I took an off stump guard, even to the bowler around the wicket. Yes, I sometimes invite him to bowl straight into my pads because I used to find that easier. So I thought, well, you can bowl that ball. I'm ready in a position to play you down the ground because I've opened up my shoulders. You see way too often international cricketers play away from the body because their head's falling over and their arms are following the swinging delivery with it. So just remember, these videos are only about how to play seamers, not spinners. Spinners, I don't trigger and I don't take off stump guard. I'll leave that for another video. If you want to see that video, leave a comment below. So let's look at Steve Smith. How many times have bowlers tried to bowl his leg stump or bowl on the wicket game LBW? He thrives off this. He's been living off this for the last few years. He invites you to bowl on his pads, and because he's opened up his shoulders, he doesn't get LBW often. He generally hits the ball through mid-wicket area for 4, and this is how he scores a majority of his runs.
That is class from Smith. So often we've seen it. He invites the bowler to step into that area. That's his office.
Now bowlers have become a bit more clever. You don't target his pads. You don't bowl on the stumps. What you do is you keep a 5th stump line. For general batsmen who bat, they bat and you tell them generally to bowl on the 4th stump corridor. The corridor outside off stump, which is the 4th stump. And that's how you generally bowl. But because I've taken it off stump guard, that 4th stump now has to go across to 5th stump. And this is where you bowl to people who take it off stump guard. Now, even though this is a batting video, I'm giving tips to fast bowlers who see a batsman go onto the off stump. Where do you bowl to them? A good way to bowl to them is the 5th stump line. And this is how people like 𝗣𝗿𝘁 used to struggle back in the day. You bowl 5th stump line, and he used to have his hands going a bit more further out. He used to edge the ball towards the slip. Now, I'm all about the counter, and this is how I used to counter it. The reason why I used to take a leg stump guard, then trigger onto off stump, is because 1 or 2 balls in the over, I used to not trigger. I used to let them bowl that 5th stump line. So when I used to take my trigger and I used to realise they're bowling a very good 5th stump line, if I've left it and it's a dot ball, the bowler probably thinks, well, I've got him under pressure now, I've bowled a dot ball, let me bowl that again. That's generally how you want to get a batsman out. You want to create pressure by creating drop balls. So I used to think, well, you bowled this couple of dot balls, and I know now that you're bowling a good 5th stump line. What I used to do was not trigger. I used to wait on my leg stump, and I didn't open up my shoulders. And even if I did, I used to open up my shoulders because I didn't want to make it too obvious to the bowler that I'm doing something different. So I used to open up my shoulders, and then I used to go back just before he bowled, let him bowl that 5th stump line, and now it becomes an easy cut shot because he's given me enough width for me to play the cut. So that's how you get runs on the offside at times. So now I'm confusing the bowler on how I used to bat. I used to sometimes take it off stump guard and sometimes to stay conventional, just to mix things around a bit, make it harder for the bowler. So because I played the cut shot, next ball I made sure I go on my off stump again and do my trigger. The reason why is I've played that shot. He's not going to bowl me width again. He's going to bowl it straight, probably on the wickets. I'm waiting for it. So I'm just waiting for him to bowl straight onto the wicket. I'm going to play the front foot drive and hit him down the ground. And if I can get runs from him that way, he's not going to bowl me any more width because I've hit him. He's not going to be pitching the ball up, especially straight. The only stopgap he's got now is to bowl the ball back over length, which is on the wickets. That's usually a good way to get a dot ball. But I'm expecting this now because I've hit him with the cut, with the straight drive. I'm expecting the ball now to be slightly back over length. And I'm waiting for it because if you remember from video 1, it's easy to play the pull shot or hook shot when anything's back over length. Now generally in club cricket you're not going to get guys butting bounces. They usually won't have enough pace or the wicket won't be hard enough. But if they do, good enough, give it to them. It's not even a problem. I don't mind bounces because once it comes into your eye line, if you've got both eyes level, the pull shot and the hook shot, anything in your eye line is easy shot because your hands will get you out of trouble. So the bowler used to bowl just back over length trying to look for a dot ball, and I was waiting for it. And I knew that if he bowled back over length, I'm ready for a little flick shot. And there's never usually a fielder backwards square leg. And this is why I score more boundaries and a lot of runs. What that meant was, the captain's now frustrated that he's hit you all around the ground. He's now going to move some of the field around to the leg side. At times, the bowler used to have 4 or 5 fielders on the leg side. And that's exactly how I used to like it, because at this stage of my innings, I faced about 40 balls, I've got about 30 runs. I'm thinking, well, I'm set. I don't care if you put more people on the leg side. I am now ready to play offside shots because I've got my iron. So as you know, as a batsman, once you're in, you're in. You don't need to really think too much about your stance, your technique, triggering. All this becomes natural. And by this stage, now I used to think I can play my cover drives because that's my favourite shot. I'm thinking, well, that's okay. You can have 4 or 5 people on the leg side. I don't care. I'm in. I'm set. My eyes are set. I can see the ball clearly now. You bowl anything to me, I'm hitting you for my favourite shot through the covers. So it took me many years to realise this is how you construct a batting innings. And this is why I'm doing this video, because you see lots of videos talking about technique, and this is how you play the cover drive, this is how you bat. But I'm also about my own personal experience here in cricket. I've never seen a video where they talk about how you construct your innings, and this is how I used to construct my innings. So hopefully it'll help all the youngsters and general cricketers out there. These technique changes which I say I've done, it won't be for everyone. That's fine. It worked for me. This is why I'm showing it. There's always tips you can still take from it, like opening up your shoulders does benefit a lot of areas, like playing off your pads, playing the pull shot. So always keep this into consideration when you're playing your shots. If you're a conventional batsman and you want to play the balls off your legs, always think, pick up the ball early, open up, and then you're in a better position to play your shots. So guys, hope you like what you see. As usual, like the video, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel, and let me know what background you want to see in the next video, because I'll be playing in that stadium next. And stay safe, and I'll see you next time.
Yorker is hit into the gap, and that's 50. Incredible stuff, really is one hell of batting effort from him. He loves it, the fans are loving it, the dugout is incredibly happy because they're seeing a sensational 50 here.